No one should demand that religion should be relegated to the intersanction of personal life without influence on societal and national life. The church cannot and must not remain on the sidelines in the fight for justice. We're called upon to make a better world.
I would agree with that. But on all and not just some issues, we can chat about that in a few moments. Look, it's the 42nd anniversary of the Roe versus Wade decision, and pro-lifers are marching in Washington, D.C. Christina Alaimo from Campaign Life in Toronto, she's been here in the studio, is one of them. She joins us now. Are you enjoying yourself down there?
I am. It's been great weather. It was an amazing crowd, and the energy is great. It's been a great trip.
How many people do you estimate? Now, be honest.
Honest, I mean, it feels like the crowd is endless. What news reports are coming in is there's a couple of 100,000 people, which is consistent with past marches here. But I mean, like I said, when you're in the middle of the crowd, it feels endless. So I could not definitely give you a good estimate. Yeah,
I mean, what tends to happen is media play it down if they cover it at all, and people in the pro-life community play it up, and the answers are somewhere in the middle. But these are serious numbers of people. The Canadian contribution, I mean, you wouldn't know all of them, but I assume there's quite a few people from Canada who've gone down for this.
Well, we had a group of 12 young people who we came down together, and then throughout the march, as we stood in front of the Canadian Embassy, we had maybe about 10 or 20 Canadians or expats come and say hi to us. So there are quite a few. Right. I was very impressed.
Now, what are you trying to achieve? Because if we're honest about the situation, in America, where you are now, the Democrat Party is never going to change. I mean, it's an abortion-based party. The Republicans, if anything, are abandoning issues of social conservatism. I would say the future, you're going to have less, not more, influence in the Republican Party.
Well, it's actually funny you say that, because just as I was on the way here, I just read an article that the House just voted to ban taxpayer funding of abortion. Now, whether that gets vetoed or gets changed further down the line, I mean, the fact that it was voted, it was 200 and something Republicans and 3 Democrats voted in favor of it. So, I mean, that's encouraging from the politician side of things.
Yeah, but if you look at
I would say there's enormous hope.
But sure, if you look at the candidates, though, I mean, these were vital issues. If you want to be the Republican nominee and if you want to be the president, you know they're going to water down the issues, and if anything, on these issues, they're not really going to talk about them very much.
I mean, currently, right now, the nominees that we have, but there are other nominees in the presidential race who I know are strongly pro-life. I know Mike Huckabee is one, Dr. Ben Carson is another. So there are pro-life options, like not just politicians who give lip service, but who are genuinely pro-life.
I know, but look, Christina, you understand how it all works. The two you mentioned have got a hope in hell. I mean, they would not be the candidates. And if Governor Huckabee was the candidate, you would see Hillary Clinton sitting very comfortably in the White House.
You know, you may be true, and you should probably call me an optimist for this, but the fact that these people are stepping up, I think that's incredibly hopeful. And I mean, all we can do is keep mobilizing the pro-life vote and keep mobilizing people to vote to their conscience. And I think that if we keep doing that, even if we lose, we still have an obligation to keep doing it.
Yeah. What I do think is very encouraging, it's the number of young people. There was a time, maybe 10 years ago or so, when I'd seen all the same faces time and time again. There's a new generation of young people, including yourself, who are very articulate, and they're really bringing the message forward in a different way. That is encouraging.
It is. Yes. I mean, I don't know how articulate I am on the issue, but it's absolutely encouraging. Absolutely encouraging.
Now, when you're in Washington, I mean, of course, in the States, everything is bigger than here, apart from the country, but the numbers are very great. Is there any opposition?
There was a little bit of opposition today. There are about 3 or 4 dozen pro-abortion protesters ahead of the march, just kind of stopping the march a little bit. But I mean, 200,000 people to 30 or 40 protesters. I mean, unfortunately, the pro-abortion lobby is comfortable to an extent because they have their laws, they have their objectives met. But I mean, it's a wake-up call. It just is completely boggles my mind when the media and the political world just sees this as a closed case when it clearly isn't. Yeah.
Well, I think you're right on that. There are so many moral questions that have to be asked. I don't think anyone has the absolute answer, but the idea there are no questions is just infantile. Now, in terms of addressing the crowd, we saw a Cardinal there. Who are, I mean, forgive me sounding banal about this, but who are the major players? Who are the big politicians and church leaders who are speaking to you?
Speaking to us directly as
addressing the crowd, I mean.
Addressing the crowd, you had a number of people addressing the crowd. You have, of course, Kristen Hawkins, who's the president of Students for Life America, for the young people and college students in particular. You had the religious aspect represented by countless cardinals, bishops from a number of denominations, including Cardinal O'Malley, who spoke very well last night. I had the pleasure of being at that Mass. You also have people like David B. Wright and Sean Carney from 40 Days for Life, and they really work at shutting down clinics and giving women alternative options. I mean, it was a huge crowd. Rebecca Kiesling, who is a lawyer who was conceived in rape, and she speaks out against the rape exception. There's a whole slew of incredible people. I didn't get to see Dr. Alveda King today, and I'm not sure if she was in the crowd, but just phenomenal people.
Okay. And
a whole host.
Is it? How long does it go on for? Is it over now? It continues throughout the week?
It finished at about 3 p.m. Yesterday there was a youth conference, and so a few thousand youth got together and they heard motivational speakers given resources and how they can start activism in their own communities. It was incredibly inspirational, even for myself. And then today we marched. There was a rally, and then we marched for about 2 hours. It was done at about 3.
Well, have a rest and have a drink, and have a very safe journey home, and we'll see you soon. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.